Hello, hello, hello. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, and welcome to Heart Talk for 2026. Heart Talk is our weekly empowerment session where men and women from all over the world come together for us to do heart work, where we are focusing on healing, enlightenment, authenticity, revitalization, and transformation, all that works together to grow what we call heart equity, which is personal, relational, and financial wealth that we obtain through authentic living. It is the first Tuesday in 2026. And I'm really thankful to be here with you all this evening. Last week, we took the week off for a break, to rest, to reset, and there will be some changes coming to Heart Talk that I will talk to you all about coming in the future. But just to start off now, I want to let you know, and I'll remind you at the end that we will be doing Heart Talk every first and third Tuesday of the month on the first and third Tuesday. We will no longer do Heart Talk every Tuesday, but we will move forward doing it on the first and third Tuesday of every month. So if you are on the email list, if you'd like to be on the email list and get notifications, make sure you go to the website, adelaibrown.com, and or go to the link tree. You can see it below. Am I pointing? Nope, pointing right there. You can see it. So yeah, right down there, you can see it and you can go to the link tree and sign up to get notifications about Heart Talk. We will continue to do our Wednesday morning prayer every Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. Um, but I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there and let you guys know. So on our last Heart Talk of the year, which was the Heart Talk that we did before Christmas, um I was just talking about how some things you have to let go. I don't even remember what the title of was of that. Um I'm going back to look now to see if I can find it. But um let it go. It hurts too bad to hold on. And so as we open up 2026, I do feel like for me and many that I've talked to, this has not been a year of, oh, let me hit the ground running. Let me, do these goals, get this done. It has been very much about being disciplined, being consistent, and resting, still allowing God to reset me, to reset my heart, to reset my thoughts, and just do that in my life. Um, and it's been very enlightening. It's been very eye-opening because as I was preparing for a Heart Talk tonight, and I'm still kind of in this space of rest, but I was preparing for Heart Talk and I was just kind of processing where I am, where I've been in life, some of the things that I've been through, some of the things that I've gone through. And it just kind of hit me that, this is definitely going to be a year of reconciliation, right? This is going to, when you reconcile something, let me define that really quick by this Google Webster dictionary. It says to reconcile is make to cause to coexist in harmony, to make or to show to be compatible. That's in a verb in a relationship form. Another one states that to make one account consistent with another, especially by allowing for transactions begun but not yet completed. Let's see. To settle. That's what I mean by that. Another definition of reconcile is to settle a disagreement, to make someone accept a disagreeable or unwelcome thing, to reconcile. And so that last definition is probably more of what I'm speaking to right now when I say this is going to be a year of reconciliation. There are going to be some things that people, we all individuals are going to have to accept that they may not agree to and they may not welcome. But this is definitely a year of us to realize that it is no longer time to overcompensate for others. You have to stop overcompensating for others. right? You can't overcompensate for them and you can't accommodate them. This is the year that you have to take care of yourself. The truth of the matter is, you cannot be better to anyone or anything else outside of how good you're willing to be to yourself. And self care involves a lot more than just going and getting a massage and, things like that. It involves so much more than that. When you talk about self care really involves telling yourself the truth, right? Self care really involves uh, detoxing, decluttering, releasing, right? Self care is not just about getting your nails done, getting your hair done, getting a manicure, going to the barbershop or whatever, taking a vacation. Those things can be a part of self care. But self care, a lot of times, it's really not something that's fun or the most enjoyable. Most people don't enjoy cleaning up, but we like the benefits of cleaning up. Most people don't enjoy working out, but they like the benefits of working out. So this is going to be a year of us really being willing to, let's go back to that word, reconcile, right? To accept things. We may have to accept things. Other people may have to accept things that are not welcome or they may not agree with, right? And then another thing we have to keep in mind is that we have to stop overcompensating. This is not the year for you to overcompensate. You compensate on the level that you need to, but this is not the year for you to fill in the blanks or fill in the gaps for everybody else and leave yourself destitute. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I see a lot of people like to start off the new year with all these New Year's resolutions. They're going to lose weight. They're going to save money. This is going to be the year. They're going to be a millionaire, all of those things. But I don't see nobody trying to stop the bad behavior and habits that they were doing that caused them to even get to that space in the first place. And I know for me personally, this hits home for me because the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, I've been dealing with extreme grief and other changes in my life, just biological changes that have been extreme. I have dealt with relational changes, all kind of changes, right? And one of the things that I realized that this season of my life has come to teach me is that I have been carrying burdens for too long that are not mine to carry. And this season of my life has really shown me I can't carry this stuff anymore. This isn't for me. It was never for me. I was never designed to carry it, but I had so much unresolved pain, frustration, anger, disappointment within myself that I couldn't even acknowledge where I was overcompensating because whatever I did was never enough because nothing is enough to somebody who don't feel good enough. Nothing is ever enough to somebody with low self-esteem and somebody that's insecure and not sure within themselves and what they're doing. It's never enough. So I had to hit rock bottom 2 times to get to the point where I realized a lot of the ladders I was trying to climb was taking me to an empty place anyway. And I really don't desire to grow and climb ladders in my life. I prefer to grow gardens. I would prefer to grow gardens. I would prefer to plant and grow every place that I go, every environment that I find myself in. And one of the things that I would not have known that. I would not have come to this conclusion had I not. I just told somebody today, I said, I have caught so much hell since my mama died. I thought the death of my mama was going to be it. It has been so much worse. But I'm glad I had to go through those things because I realized there were things about me. There was, I used to call it this motor, this drive. I've talked to you guys about it before. You know that thing, those high achievers, those people who is never enough and they always got to go and they always got an idea and they got to work on this and they got to work on that. When I see that, I feel sorry for them. I don't care how successful they present to be. I people who struggle to rest and relax, and they can't focus. They always got to be busy. They can't sit where it's still and where it's quiet. You know why? Because their soul is so uneasy. And many times our soul is uneasy because we are overcompensating for someone or something that didn't give us what we wanted or needed, um, or something dealing with that. So for example, um, as a mother, I can say that I know that I've dropped the ball. Nobody's perfect in parenting. Nobody gets it right all the time. So I know that I've dropped the ball in some things that my kids may have needed me to be there, needed me to support them in a way that I didn't know, or I didn't have the capacity to do it, or maybe I didn't want to do it. And so when I get to this realization, it's like, okay, I feel bad about that. Oh my gosh, I dropped the ball. I missed that. So now I overcompensate. Right. So what that would look like is, okay, if my child is now doing something or caught up in something or needing something, and I am enabling them, or I am doing for them, I don't have any structure, any boundaries for them because I'm feeling bad about something that happened in the past. That's overcompensation. I see a lot of parents, like when you grew up with when you have a child with a parent that's not active or not showing up in their lives the way your child desires. I will see a lot of times that other parent will try to overcompensate, try to do their part and the other parent's part to try to fill that void for the child. And when kids get older, they come back and tell you how much they mad at you for doing it. I've seen it time and time again. But anything to in that moment, for many of us parents, we don't deal with the pain, the shame, the disappointment, the guilt of, having a child with somebody that's not taking care of them properly, or being in a relationship that didn't work and now you're stuck with the brunt of dealing with it. And now you're trying to overcompensate because you feel bad. You don't want your child to feel bad, but everybody's feeling bad and nobody's dealing with it because we're going to the mall and buying Jordans, going out to eat and getting ice cream and stuff. So we just acting like it don't exist. We just acting like it's not happening. This is not the year for overcompensation. This is the year to tell the truth. This is the year to look at your own mess and deal with it. This is the year for you to take that step, even if it's uncomfortable. This is the year for you to invest all of that time and energy in yourself that you've been putting in everybody else. Because the truth of the matter is, see, some people will think what I'm saying is selfish, and it's not. What I'm saying is, God put you here to do a work. But you're so distracted from what you're supposed to be doing because you're too busy trying to help everybody else. You trying to serve everybody else. You trying to be there for everybody else. And you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It's just like me as a parent. If I tell my child to do your chores before you go outside and play with your friend, and I come and my child says to me, I come home and the chores aren't done, but you down the street at your friend house helping them wash dishes, and you say to me, well, mom, I didn't wash the dishes, but I cannot here to help her. I don't care about her dishes. I don't live in that house. I live in this house. And I need you accountable in here. So my question to us, Heart Tribe, have you been accountable with your own house? Have you been accountable taking care of yourself and your needs? Or are you trying to overwork and outwork your trauma, which is what I was doing? Being an overachiever, a busybody, whatever you want to call, trying to get it right, trying to be perfect. I wasn't taking care of me properly. I wasn't addressing the things that needed to be addressed. The Lord had to really break me down. And it's sad. I had to go so low. My business, my life, my finances had to get that terrible for me to stop running from myself. Because that's what a lot of us do. We get busy, we start achieving, we start racing. But you know what I found? We start doing all of those things because we don't want to deal with what's in front of us. And then when we get later in our life and wonder why our families don't get along, wonder why we miserable and unhappy and cynical and condescending and passive aggressive. All of that is signs of somebody that's hurting and not dealing with the hurt. And I hate to say it, but it's so many, especially so many older people I come into contact with. People my age and up. Everybody else fault, but they don't want to look in the mirror. I remember when my mom passed away, and there was a friend of mine that I didn't talk to during that time. And I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's weird because she loved mommy and she loved me. And I just it was different that I didn't hear from her. And I remember thinking, like, I told myself, I was like, I'm not getting mad at nobody I didn't hear from, I didn't talk to, because they may have reached out or something and I just didn't know, or just life was happening for them. But I'm not going to take it personal. Like, whoever could be here, I'm thankful for that, because I remember certain people that asked, did you hear from so and so? Did so and so come by? And I'm like, no, or yeah, but it's like, I'm not going to sit here and like harp on that. When I just lost my mama, like, they ain't none of them more important to me than my mama right now, right? But this particular friend, I just couldn't shake it. And maybe about 4 months ago, I was on Facebook and I saw somebody put a post up and they tagged her in it. And the person was talking about her like in memory. And so I'm reading the thing and I'm thinking, well, maybe, they're like me and her and they just don't talk as often. So I thought he was just kind of going down memory lane and telling a story and just talking about her. But what he was saying was he missed talking to her and being able to talk to her. So when I read it, I was like, this is reading like she is no longer here. It's reading like she has transitioned and is no longer in the earth realm. And I was like, there is no way she died. And I did not know about it. So I started doing my little Facebook research. And sure enough, she passed away. She passed away 2 years prior, and I did not know. And I was sitting there like, how did I not know? The last time I talked to her, she told me she had a health challenge. And she told me, she was like, I'm fine. I've been through this before. I'll get through this. It's not that serious. Well, I don't remember her saying like, but that's the vibe she was giving to me, like, I'm gonna get through this, whatever. And I didn't talk to her. Like, I was like, okay, I'll check back with you. But we did that. That wasn't like out of the norm for us. Like, we probably talk once a year or once every other year or something like that. And then get together and spend a day or two together or whatever, just have a ball. But when I saw that she had died, and I think this was like maybe September, October of 2025 of last year. And I had missed it. I feel like when I found out she died was about as long as it was since my mom died, right? That's about as long as she had been gone at that time. And I was like, well, no, she was actually gone like a year and some months before mommy. But I just was sitting there like, I don't have time to be carrying stuff I don't need to carry. I don't have time to be angry and upset about things that don't really concern me. And I also don't need to try to force myself into anything, any dream, any goal, anything. Like, all of the ways that I have been, many of the ways, I ain't gonna say all, because I've been doing a lot of work for a while to get better. And I've gotten a lot better, and I'm gonna give myself that pat in the back. But man, it just put a lot of things in perspective to me, because I remember some of the conversations we had prior to her passing. And I just was like, I cannot believe she's gone. She was so young. She was so full of life. She wasn't even 50 years old yet when she passed away. And I mean, just as feisty, she really reminded me a lot of my mom. And it just got me thinking, like, if I want to live my life well and live as long as I possibly can, I know for 2026 I have to be intentional. And I know for 2026 I can no longer overcompensate. Overcompensate is defined as to take excessive measures in attempting to correct or make amends for an error, weakness, or problem. And I think a lot of times we as women, I'm not saying men don't do it, but I see a lot of women, we overcompensate. We try to make up for where everybody else dropped the ball, especially mothers. We'll overcompensate with our children, wives. We'll overcompensate in our marriages, daughters. We'll overcompensate with our parents. Siblings, we overcompensate. We don't want people to hurt. We don't want them to feel left out. We don't want. And where do you find yourself in the midst of all of that? Confused, discombobulated, neglected, just depleted. So yeah, I could start this year off with some, do this and do that. But no, I'm still talking about my 6 steps because they work. And I'm working my own steps: connection, awareness, acceptance, forgiveness, decision, take action. Those 6 steps that the Lord showed me. And this is how He gives us a new heart that he talks about in Ezekiel 36 and 26. He said, I will remove your heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh. My heart, I realize, have been getting hard. I've been getting angry, frustrated, and I've been praying to God. That's why I had to rest. And the Lord said, because you're trying to overcompensate. Like when somebody has a crutch, one leg will try to overcompensate for the other leg. If you have something going on in your body, your back, your arm, your leg, your body will try to overcompensate for the weaker side, the side that's injured. And what ends up happening is then you throw off the strong side when you overcompensate too long. A lot of us parents, we overcompensate. We're attempting we take excessive measures in an attempt to correct or make amends for an error or weakness or a problem. Somebody else is the problem. A lot of times they're fixated on remaining the problem. And we try to overcompensate and try to sprinkle glitter on it and put sugar on, sugar honey iced tea, right? We try to do that instead of dealing with the fear, dealing with the issue, dealing with the addiction, dealing with the lies, dealing with the confusion, dealing with the miscommunication. No, we just go and try to patch it up and try to make some amends. And I have done it excessively. And what I found is many times when I overcompensate, I end up messing it up worse. And I'm not doing that for 2026. And I don't encourage you to do it either. Now, if you take a inventory of your life, I want you to really sit down and ask yourself, where am I attempting to correct, to mend or make amends for some problem or error or weakness that is somebody else's, but I'm trying to make amends for that. I'm taking excessive measures to clean up a mess somebody else continues to make. And why am I doing that? Why am I avoiding dealing with the mess? Why am I avoiding dealing with what's causing the mess? But I'm just overcompensating, excessively cleaning up after this person, these people, this family, this job, this situation, this husband, this wife, this neighbor, this sibling. I mean, fill in the blank. This eating disorder, this shopping habit. Because we seem to only think that drugs and alcohol are the only addictions out here. Shopping, working, church, sex, talking about people, food. It's so many things that we do to overcompensate for the problems that we refuse to address. I'm asking you in 2026, let's address the problems. I'm not saying everything gonna get fixed. I'm not saying we have a solution for everything. But what I'm saying is any place that you're overcompensating means that there's an area that needs to be compensated that's not getting what it needs. Now make that make sense. And you got to stop justifying giving, pouring from an empty cup. That's irresponsible. You got to take time to fill yourself up so that you can go back and return support and help other people. And I know some people, I can't do that. And you don't understand. I have young kids and I still have a child that's young enough that still needs me to take care of them. And the best thing I can do is take care of myself well, because that teaches him one, how he's supposed to treat a woman, how he should treat his wife, and that gives him an expectation of how he should treat himself. No overcompensating. We got to let people be who they be. And we got to allow people to accept them for who they are or not. And I'm talking to me. I'm sharing a little bit of, what I write in my journal to God about some things I got going on in my life right now. And I just encourage you. Stop overcompensating. Stop trying to fill in the blanks for people who don't care about the fact that they're leaving blanks. Let them fall short. Let them have that negative image that they have to work on cleaning that back up. Let them have to save face. I remember when my daughter was young, I used to do a lot of overcompensating. And I was overcompensating and being like hard on her. I used to be very hard on her. I wanted her to get very good grades. She had to behave a certain way. She had to act a certain way because I was a teen mother. The relationship with her father did not work. I lived as a single mom for a while before I got married, got with my husband and got married, and it was rough. So I overcompensated by trying to be the best parent I could be and being hard on her. And when I look back, I mean, I'm exhausted when I think about it. I remember my best friend used to always be like, "Man, it's not that serious. Just leave them alone." And I justified it. No, because they need this and they need that. When I look back, when people do that around me now, I'm like, my goodness, give them a break. And then I always say, oh my gosh, like sometimes I cry because I'm like, this used to be me. Like I have a young mother right now in my life. I love her, like my little cousin. And we had this conversation and she was getting on her kids. And I said, you know what? You a good mama. You really are. I said, and you too hard on yourself. You too hard on yourself. I can tell you too hard on yourself because of how hard you are on them. And I know that if you weren't so hard on yourself, you would not be hard like this on them. Because yes, these children need structure. Yes, they need discipline, but they don't need what I'm talking about. This tears at your self-esteem. We've all been around it. You know those drill sergeant like teachers that there are good teachers that are strict, and then there are mean teachers that just tear down your countenance, and there's a difference. Some of them are straight from hell and they need to go back there. And there are other ones that see the good in you and they know you need to be challenged, you need to be disciplined, so they have to stick with you. And I have to do that sometimes with people, but I know I can soften up and let up on them. And that, as I've grown in parenting, and even with my older, she would tell me, you changed a lot. I changed a lot while she was still in the house, but I can look back and see the change that I've had since she left 6 years ago and just the change over the years. And I'm still changing, and I will continue to change as long as I'm open to growth. So I'm thankful I can look back at younger moms and be like, man, don't be so hard on yourself. You can be strict and be disciplined on your kids, but it'll be easier to love on them, show them affection, care for them in a more um in a way that they can receive it and it doesn't tear down their self-esteem and their countenance in the process. Because I know I did a number on my daughter's self-esteem because my self-esteem was crappy. It irritated me when people compliment me because I felt so bad about myself. I'm like, why are you I'm not pretty. Why are you telling me this? Like, I'm not doing good. Have you seen my bank? Like, these are the thoughts I would have. People, are you doing such a good? You such a good this. And I'm like, yeah, but look at this, but look at that. That's not being kind to myself. People compliment you. Oh, this whole thing. Oh, I gained too much weight. Oh, this or that. That's not being kind to yourself. You overcompensating for something, even by throwing little um um insults at yourself. You're overcompensating for something. So I just really wanted to get on tonight and just get you to really start thinking about where you are right now, because the truth of the matter is people like to say new year, new me, new year, new me, all this stuff. Ain't nothing about to be new unless you make it some changes. And that's just that. You about to get the same year you got last year. Just different people gonna die. That's all. And you probably gonna gain some weight that you didn't want to gain if you don't do something different. That's the reality of it. So when we look at overcompensation, take excessive measures in attempting to correct or make amends for an error or weakness or a problem. Are you attempting, or have you been taking measures? Some people may say, well, I wouldn't say it's excessive, but I do try to make sure that my kids don't and my this don't da. No, they're gonna have to get the real. They're gonna have to see what's going on. You got to get the real me. That's where I am right now. I realize for me personally, I overcompensated for thinking that I wasn't good enough. So I showed up a certain way in certain environments that was not very authentic to me. So now when I show back up in these environments and people say certain things and do certain things, and I'm like, no. Or I'm addressing it. And they're like shocked. Or I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that to me. No, what you can't believe is I finally said something back to you. And that also comes with getting older. I'm a 43-year-old woman right now, and I don't care how old you are. You just can't talk to me all kind of ways. Period. I don't care. The oldest people in my family respect me. So you got to respect me too, because I'm going to respect you. But I couldn't do this when I was still trying to overcompensate and convince myself that I was good enough when I didn't feel like I was. I couldn't. So my thing to you right now in your life is, where are you overcompensating and why? Where are you taking excessive measures in an attempt to correct or make amends for an error, weakness, or problem that's somebody else's? And why are you doing it? I know I've been writing in my journal why. My granddaddy, I have memories about my granddaddy came up, things from elementary school came up. See, the problem is y'all don't see the need for this stuff, right? Y'all don't see the need to heal. You don't realize that when a thought or a memory comes up, it's coming up because it needs to come out so that you don't worry about it or think about it or whatever anymore. But no, y'all subscribe to this lie that we just stuff it down and just get over it. And where has that worked? That's why the oncologist is so busy. That's the cancer doctor for people who don't know. That's why the GI doctor is so busy, because the trauma that you don't let out of your body is going to ravage the inside of your body. That's why I'm doing my best to let it out. That's why they say, why do black people have the highest incidence of high blood pressure, high every single thing? Look how oppressed we are, and we don't deal with it. Most of us don't even think we should express ourselves. We think that's soft. I know I'm being very stereotypical, but this is my experience. I could say that as a blanket, and it ain't just black people, but I'm using that as an example. I don't think it's, if you study science, if you study epigenetics, if you start to study quantum physics and things like that, you will see it's a direct correlation. What I have found is we overcompensate because we're trying to accommodate. That's the last word I'm bring up tonight, but that's what I think right now. Well, accommodation is to fit in with the wishes or needs of. To fit in with the wishes or needs of. So somebody else wishing for something and you decide you need and to adapt to fit in with the wishes and needs of or adapt to. You are so accustomed to adapting to everybody else. When does somebody have to adapt to you? You are important enough for somebody to adapt to you. And if you can't be in environments where you're adapting to people, fitting in with their wishes, and they're also adapting to you and fitting in with yours, then you need to get out of that environment because you're overcompensating and it's time to go. A lot of us prayers not getting answered because you in environments that are not blessed. You in relationships that are not blessed. You on jobs that are not blessed. You have behaviors that's not blessed, and you wonder why God is not. Some of these things we gotta get our house in order, but we like to think the physical house at the new year. Everybody want to clean their house and wash clothes. What kind of cleansing are you doing with your soul? Where did you wash your heart, your spirit? How did you detox your body going into this new year? So much a New Year's resolution. The resolution is to stop overcompensating and accommodating in places that we're not supposed to. Luke chapter 12, starting at verse 49. It says, Jesus causes division. It says, I have come to set the world on fire, and I wish it were already burning. I have a terrible baptism of suffering ahead of me, and I am under a heavy burden until it is accomplished. Do you think I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I have come to divide people against each other. From now on, families will be split apart, three in favor of me and two against, or two in favor and three against. Father will be divided against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Then Then Jesus turned to the crowd and said, when you see clouds beginning to form in the west, you say, here comes a shower. And are you right? When the south wind blows, you say, today will be a scorcher, and it is. You fools, you know how to interpret the weather signs of the earth and sky, but you don't know how to interpret the present times. Why can't you decide for yourselves what is right? When you are on your way to court with your accuser, try to settle the matter before you get there. Otherwise, your accuser may drag you before the judge, who will hand you over to an officer who will throw you into prison. And if that happens, you won't be free again until you have paid the very last penny. Why did I read that? Because the truth of the matter is, if you're going to stop overcompensating, if you're going to stop accommodating other people, because you can't serve two masters, right? The word just told us. You go back and read it for yourself. Jesus was saying when you turn to follow him, it's going to set you apart and against people. So when you're a people pleaser or you're the one in the family got to bring everybody together. Don't say that, they just grandma wouldn't want that. That person, you the strong one. You got to understand when you really start to do what God has called you to do, it's going to bring about a line in the sand. You got to draw a line in the sand. What will you tolerate? What won't you tolerate? Will you go there? Will you not go there? It's not going to be easy. It's not just going to be simple. There are going to be people that don't agree with your decision. They don't like your decision. They're going to be vocal about it, especially the people who have benefited from you overcompensating and accommodating them. Of course, they're going to be upset that you're no longer willing to do that for them. But do you have the courage and the faith in God and in yourself to stand so that you can get the prayers answered you've been praying for the last 20 years? I'm talking to me, but I know I ain't the only one who can relate to this. Any comments or questions? Anyone want to share? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Miss Connie. So yeah, I just like that is really and let me check. I know we got YouTube live. Let me make sure nobody commented on YouTube because I don't want to overlook those voices as well. Any comments? Anybody showing all my YouTube family love? Thank y'all for being here. Make sure you heart it up in the chat. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, all those good things. But that's what I believe. I believe that 2026 is really about a year of when I say reconcile, I'm talking about settling. Settle a disagreement. Settle the disagreement within yourself. There's a wrestling within yourself, and it's time to settle that. No more war within. No, it is sometimes we think just because things aren't comfortable or they're not, everybody isn't happy. Sometimes we think that means something is wrong. No, I read Luke chapter 12 because that just let you know when you walking and following Christ, it's going to set sometimes families apart. And that's just the way it is. But like the Bible say, oh, is it the Bible? It might be a hymn because when you grew up in the church, you will mix the two. But on Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. The Bible does tell us that Jesus is the chief cornerstone. And Peter said, upon this rock, he said, upon this rock I build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. That's the rock we can stand on. When everybody else is shifting and shaping and all shaking all over the place, that's the rock we can stand on. When we decide that we don't want to overcompensate, that's the rock we can stand on. When we want others to be accountable for themselves so we can be accountable for ourselves, that's the rock we can stand on. I'm not telling you don't take care of what you need to take care of, but I'm telling you there's a way to do it that's healthy and does not require you to overcompensate for others who need to get in line and do what they need to do in their lives in 2026. And that's all I got. That is all I have for tonight. Remember that we're going to this is going to be a good year for us. Um, but I just truly believe that our prayers are not going to be answered. Sometimes you might feel like God is not hearing you. God heard you. God is prepared to bless you with many things, but God is not going to bless you in that space that's not blessed. It's just like, he says, I prepared a place for you. And for many of us, that place that you're in is not that prepared place. And that's why I don't feel blessed. And you got to do that work. You got to do that work to get to that space. It's uncomfortable doing the work, but oh my gosh, it feels so good. It pays off. I just told somebody that today. I said, doing hard work was very uncomfortable. It challenged me. I cried a lot. I had to swallow my pride. I said, but I will not take back the intimacy, the type of friendship and relationship my mother and I had that would not have come outside of both of us doing our work. And when I say work, I'm talking extensive work, hours and hours of therapy, counseling, coaching for years to get to a point where we get an attitude with each other, we could just be like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to you later because we not seeing eye to eye. Before, oh, be like Russia and Ukraine for real. Okay. What is it? I've never read the book. I don't know how I made it through life and never read it. But what is it? The Montagues and the Capulets, Romeo and Juliet. Listen, they family did not get along, right? That's how me and mommy used to be. That's why this is my mission is hard work. The Bible tells us out of the heart flows the issues of life. The Lord tells us that He will replace the heart of stone and give us a soft heart of flesh. There is a blessing for us where we could be supple and soft before the creator of the universe without having to armor and protect ourselves from all the pain that we've experienced in this lifetime. And we got to heal. We don't have to heal, but if you want that quality of life, you're going to keep working at it and releasing. It's really a lot about letting go. That's really what it's about. You don't realize how much baggage you hold on to because you've attached it to your identity. And I know because that's what I've been getting delivered from since my mom died. This strong, independent woman that got to figure it out. She died with that thing. She was trying to let it go. But I I know she's proud to know I am walking in, dropping that sucker and just going. And it feels different. I show up different. The decisions I'm making are different now. My goals have changed since I don't have to get it right. My goals have changed since I'm not trying to climb the ladder of success, whatever that means. And I decided I just want to grow a big garden that the generations behind me will be able to eat off of. If I can grow and tend this garden so well, my grands, my great grands, maybe my great great grands can come and eat from this garden. That is success for me. I'm not climbing any ladders. I'm gonna get better at gardening and our little heart garden. And we gonna grow our heart equity. Do our heart work and keep making our heart connections. With me, your heart coach. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Because the Bible says, whom the Son set free is free indeed. And I know a part of that freedom is emotional and mental freedom. And that's what God has called me to. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it through real estate. I'm going to do it through speaking. I'm going to just do it through how I show up. But wherever you see me, you see somebody that wants you to be whole. We're all whole, but I want you to know your wholeness. And I'm getting to experience mine. I used to think I was fragmented or shattered. I wasn't. It just takes courage to explore more of yourself. When you overcompensate, you shut off parts of who you are because you're pouring into something in someone else that you were not designed to do. It's like blocking off rooms in your house and not giving yourself access because somebody else got to stay in there. Are they paying rent? Are you supposed to be taking care of them? Ask yourself that. Where am I overcompensating and why? And our schedule is changing up some with Heart Talk. We're going to start doing every first and third Tuesday of the month. The first and third Tuesday of the month. As of now, the time is the same. That might change. I might push. I'm working on that with the team right now. I'm thinking about moving it up to 7. Because I told you I'm 43-year-old lady. I don't know. I'd be tired at 8 o'clock now. When I started Heart Talk, we did it at 9:15 at night because that's how it worked for my family. And we did it like that for 7 years. But I had children in the house and I had bedtime and I had to cook dinner and all the things. And it's a different life now. So with that different life, I'm willing to shift with the changes, not willing to let it go, but definitely wanting to shift. So we will not be here next Tuesday, but we will be back on the 3rd. And for those of you that don't want the burden of trying to memorize that, get on the email list and we will send out reminders every week that we're having it so that you know about it. We will continue to do prayer on um, Wednesday mornings at 5, and the podcast will resume later in January. And, we will resume back with that every other week as well. And I'll let y'all know how that is going. Our real estate lunch and learns, our heart home lunch and learn, where we talk about real estate, is going to be every second Wednesday of the month. All of this stuff is on my website. If you want notifications, please go to the website, adelaibrown.com, or go to the link tree at the bottom of the screen here. If you can see my face, the link tree / the heart connections. All of this is there, but I just want to do better at letting people know what we have going on because um, We're launching our new community platform this year. That's coming up prayerfully this month. I'm excited about that for us to stay in communication in between our live events. Um, and just a couple other good things coming down the pipeline. I'm excited about not doing a lot more, just nurturing the things that I've been doing and doing those well. Just doing those well. And I'm just proud of myself because, you know, when you're not content with yourself, you got to keep adding stuff on because nothing feels good enough. Praise God, I'm delivered. That's all I can say. I'm so thankful. I don't need to do that anymore. So, with that being said, I thank you guys for being here. I thank y'all for doing life with me. I thank you for doing hard work. I thank you for being willing to show up and listen and think about these things and challenge yourself. Um and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for making it through. You made it to 2026. That means that we have work to do. So let's get this work done. Okay? All right. You have anything you want to share before we leave out?
I really enjoyed this. I was just thinking as you were talking that all of this stuff is arranged in our life for our good. It's all part of the process, you know? And the things that we didn't know before, we just didn't know it. And we don't look at a kid that doesn't know how to walk and say, my God, why don't you know how to walk yet? And when they walk, you don't look back and say, Jesus Christ, you at 14 months and you're just walking. Why didn't you do it at 10? But we do that with ourselves. Then the other thing is we tie knots with the things that you were talking about. We tie knots inside of ourselves, but we also tie those same knots and people to us in that way. So the reality is when we go to change something, we have taught those people how to behave and they have expectations. It's kind of like if I gave you $100 bill every week for no reason, just because I thought I should, and then I decided I wasn't gonna do it. I'm mad because you kept taking the $100 bill. That wasn't your fault. If you offered me $100, I'm supposed to take it. It's your job to figure out why the hell am I giving my $100 bill away like this, And if you get mad when I don't come up with a $100 bill and say, "Well, where's my $100 bill?" and stuff, yeah, hey, yeah, I can't get mad at you for something I made you expect. However, I don't have to address it. Sometimes we address stuff that doesn't need to be addressed. When I'm making a change, the same way I had to get to a point to understand it, other people don't have to accept my change because the person that needs to accept it is me. And when I accept my change, I don't have to convince you. I just continue on being me and letting you deal with whatever you have to deal with and not letting it change what I do or what I say. That's the next step, baby. When not being mad, not being angry, just realizing, oh, yeah, I don't want to do this no more and keep it moving.
And it does not need to be a notification. It does
No.
not need to be an announcement. I love this.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to explain it because people will see. If I'm dancing and I change the step, I don't have to announce it to you. Eventually, you move your feet and figure out the new rhythm after you've gotten your toes smashed a couple times. It's nothing to say. We talk too much sometimes because we want people to be happy with what it is that we're doing. And people are not going to be happy with what I'm doing until they recognize that I'm happy, that there's nothing that they're going to do that's going to change it. And once they realize that, they stop poking because then they're going on to do what they do and they're retrained to expect something different and to do
Mm.
something different. We trained these people over a long, hard road. So it's going
Mm.
to take a minute for them to regroup and realize that things have changed because always before you change something and then they get real upset and you try to explain they don't understand and you go back to what it was you were doing. So they have every reason to think that we're going to do the same thing and go back to what we were doing. And so, hey, let me see if I can't get this $100 bill back. You it take me a minute to realize, oh, it's really not coming.
That's it. And like you said, they didn't have to announce they weren't giving it to me anymore. They didn't announce when they started. I
Yeah,
have to make the adjustment.
yeah. And you will.
And you will.
Yeah.
You will. And I love that. That's why I'm so glad that you shared because I feel like that's nice icing on this cake. I am so serious. Thank you so much for that. And that's it. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from the queen. This is one of our queens. She is one of our queens. I got some queens around me now. They keep me straight. And I'm so thankful for it. I love you. I appreciate you. I love all of y'all. I appreciate y'all being here. And just listen to this. Come back and listen to this video again. Rewind that piece Miss Connie just said. Right? We've knotted these people up to us. We've created this. I just told somebody, you teach people how to treat you. So if you don't like how they're treating you, let's teach them something new. And that's essentially, so I just think I'm thankful. Um, and let's move forward with that grace for ourselves and that grace for others, right? Let's just keep it moving. This is what growth looks like. Development looks like, right? We hear the term growing pains, but it's the truth. But you live a much better quality life as a result of it. So let's make 2026 a great year. Remember to take some time and reflect and ask yourself if you find yourself overcompensating. You've taught people to treat you in a way that you don't like. Ask yourself why so that you don't find yourself back there. Deal with that. So you don't keep, you hear people say, oh, there's no good men out here. And it's like, who's the common denominator in these relationships? It's you. So you go, there's no good women. Who's the common denominator? It's you. Let's deal with self. And everything else is going to work itself out. Okay. All right. I love y'all. Remember, we'll be back on today is the 6th. So we will be back on the 20th. We'll be back on the 20th, the day after Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. So y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the holiday. If you're not on the email list, get on the email list, Linktree / the Heart Connections, or go to AdelaiBrown.com and get connected. I love y'all very much. Remember, when you heal your heart, you transform your life and you transform your world. So let's keep doing this work, y'all. Love y'all.